Hello scholars. Today we are going to start with Geography chapter 3, Our Changing Earth. As you know that our earth consists of different type of landforms, but we don't know from where these landforms emerged. These landforms even seems to be still, but they are not still. They are dynamic or they are moving. This movement is very slow that it cannot be judged. Even these landforms are reshaped at times. And these reshaping of landform happens due to climatic process. As we have studied in the previous chapter that our earth consists of continental crust and oceanic crust. But earlier there were no separate continents. All these continents were a part of a large supercontinent or a single landmass which was termed as Pangaea. With the passage of time, this Pangaea splitted and these continents started moving away from each other and got the present location. These moving landforms are termed as lithospheric plates. So in this chapter, we are going to study about these lithospheric plates and which type of forces are exerted on the earth from inside and on the surface. So first of all, we'll discuss about lithospheric plates. What are lithospheric plates? Lithospheric plate basically consists of a very big piece of rock which is irregular in shape. These lithospheric plates consist of both continental crust and oceanic crust. These lithospheric plates are even broken down into number of smaller pieces which are termed as continents. There are 7 major and many other minor lithospheric plates on our earth. As we have discussed that these lithospheric plates keep on moving. So now we'll be studying about the movements of earth or the movement of these lithospheric plates. These lithospheric plates move horizontally. As we know that the internal part of earth consists of molten matter. And molten matter is basically a thick liquid. So because of this, these lithospheric plates keep on moving. The movement of these lithospheric plates is in millimeters every year. As this molten magma moves in circular manner, so this leads to various changes in the landform on the surface of earth. The forces which are affecting the earth's crust are of 2 types. Endogenic forces and exogenic forces. So now we'll be discussing about these 2 types of forces and the changes in the landform which are a result of these forces. So first of all, we'll be discussing about endogenic forces. Endogenic forces are the forces which are exerted on the earth from inside. The word endogenic comprises of 2 words. Endo means inside and genic means origin. So the forces which acts from within the earth or inside the earth are termed as endogenic forces. Endogenic forces at times acts as sudden forces and at times as slow forces. Sudden forces lead to sudden changes on the earth's crust and slow forces lead to the slow movement of the lithospheric plates. Now we are going to study about these sudden forces and slow forces. First of all, we'll be discussing about sudden forces. Sudden forces lead to sudden movements. So these sudden movements leads to sudden changes on the earth's crust. These sudden movements causes earthquakes, volcanic eruptions and landslides, which in turn results in a huge destruction for the life and property of human beings. So let us discuss about these sudden changes in detail. First of all, we'll be discussing about earthquake. Any sort of internal vibration inside the earth leads to sudden vibrations on the surface of earth. These vibrations are known as earthquake. When an earthquake occurs, the lithospheric plates moves in a sudden manner and leads to vibrations on the earth's crust. The place under the surface of earth from where the earthquake originates is known as focus, and the point on the surface of earth which is exactly and vertically above the focus, is known as epicenter. The waves of the earthquake moves in a circular manner around the epicenter, and the force of these waves reduces as it moves away from the epicenter. These waves cause heavy destruction on the surface of earth, and even the destruction decreases as these waves moves away from the epicenter. The waves which are generated by earthquake are termed as seismic waves, and these waves can be recorded by an instrument called seismograph. The science that studies the seismic waves is known as seismology. The intensity of an earthquake can be measured on Richter scale, and this name was given because of its inventor Charles F. Richter, 1935. An earthquake is basically a natural and a sudden hazard. It cannot be predicted, but whenever it occurs, it brings a great loss to the life and property. We cannot stop the earthquake, but we can minimize the adverse effect of earthquake by following some preventive measures. So the preventive measures are: the zones which are more prone to earthquake should have the buildings which are earthquake resistant. Even the people should be advised to make such buildings which are earthquake resistant. People should be made aware by training them to deal with the conditions which are prevailing during an earthquake. During an earthquake, the people should take shelter against an inside wall or under a table or a desk. People should stay away from glass windows, chimneys, mirrors, etc. People even should be made aware of some earthquake prediction signs. For example, if there is any possibility of earthquake, the snakes comes out on the surface of earth. The fishes becomes more aggressive. So these are certain signs. If the people are aware, then they can protect themselves and can manage beforehand to face the earthquake. Next effect of sudden movement of lithospheric plates is a volcanic eruption. The word volcano is derived from a word volcanus, which means Roman god of fire. A volcano is basically a narrow opening in the earth's crust through which the molten magma comes out suddenly from inside the surface of earth. The opening through which the molten magma comes out is called as a vent. The funnel-shaped area around the vent is known as crater. When a volcano erupts, it brings out molten magma or lava, hot gases, ash, and even pieces of rocks. Next, we'll be discussing about slow movements of lithospheric plates. These movements can be horizontal or vertical. Vertical movements cause uplift and result in the formation of plateaus and valleys. And on the other hand, horizontal movements result in folding and faulting and results in the formation of mountains and rift valleys. Both these movements are formed by the diastrophic forces, and these forces act very slowly. And even the result of these forces, or we can say the formation of the mountains and valleys, are visible after thousands of years on the surface of earth. Next, we'll be discussing about exogenic forces. The word exogenic is made by the combination of two words. Exo means outside and genic means origin. So we can say that the forces which acts from outside on the surface of earth are known as exogenic forces. Exogenic forces are even called as external forces. It results in the formation of different type of landforms. These exogenic forces are directly or indirectly related with sun's energy. The process of wearing away of earth's crust is called as gradation. Wearing away basically means the erosion and deposition. Gradation is basically of two types, degradation and aggradation. Degradation relates to erosion and aggradation relates to deposition. Even this degradation process is of two types, weathering and erosion. Weathering basically relates to the sudden breaking down of pieces of rocks on the surface of Earth by the atmospheric agents like temperature, moisture, frost, human beings, plants, animals, etc. On the other hand, erosion relates with the wearing away of these rock pieces and their deposition by the action of wind, water or ice. Weathering generally takes place with running water, underground water, ocean currents, etc. These agents carry away the eroded material and deposit them into depressions, which results in the formation of new landforms. So we can say that weathering results in the formation of new landforms. So let us study about the different type of landforms which are formed by the erosion and deposition of sediments by the rivers or by running water. River is basically a stream of fresh water which flows onto its path and confined in its banks, and at last goes and mixes with a big water body, that is an ocean or a sea. River is a very important geomorphic agent. It results in the formation of various types of landforms through the process of erosion and deposition. First of all, we'll be discussing about erosional landforms. First erosional landform which is formed by a river is a valley. Valley is mostly formed within the mountainous region. Valleys are basically the result of vertical erosion by the rivers. When the rivers flow through the mountains at a very high speed, it results in the erosion of mountains or breaking down of mountains, which results in steep slopes known as valleys. Second erosional landform is waterfall. Waterfall is basically the falling down of large amount of water from a height. Next feature is meanders. When the river enters a plains, it twists and turns and result in the formation of curves. These curves are basically known as meanders. Next erosional feature is Oxbow Lake. When the river forms meanders, due to continuous erosion and deposition, these meanders are completely disconnected from the main channel of the river. Then it forms a loop alongside the meanders. These loops or small lakes are basically known as Oxbow Lakes. Next, we are going to study about depositional landforms. First depositional landform is floodplains. In its lower course, when the river enters the plains, it carries a huge amount of sand and silt along with it, which is known as sediments. During floods, these sediments which are carried by the river are deposited onto the nearby areas in plains, which are known as floodplains. These floodplains are generally very fertile. Next depositional feature is levees. Levees is basically the raised river banks. During floods, when the river water flows above the river banks, then sediments which are carried by the river are deposited onto its banks, which results in the raising of the landform which are near to the banks. This is basically known as levees. Average height of levees is basically 10 meters. Next depositional landform is a delta. When a river enters the sea or an ocean, the speed of river becomes very slow, and the river is divided into different distributaries or into various small channels before entering the sea. When the river enters through these channels and its speed becomes slow, it starts depositing the sediments. These sediments are deposited by each and every distributary along the sides, which results in a fan-shaped alluvial deposit. These deposits are basically termed as delta. These deltas are also very fertile areas. Next, we are going to study about the landforms which are formed by the action of sea waves. Sea waves and currents are a very important source of erosion and deposition on the coastal regions. It even leads to formation of various types of landforms on the coastal areas. So first of all, we are going to study about erosional landforms which are formed by sea waves. First erosional landform is sea caves. Sea caves are formed by the erosion of strong rocks which are joined to each other, but they are weak. So when the sea waves strike these rocks, it results in cracks, and gradually it results in the formation of cave-like structure which are known as sea caves. Next landform is sea arcs. When two sea caves approach each other, then an arc is formed, that is known as sea arc. This arch basically consists of only the roof of the caves. In this, two sea caves are joined with each other, and due to the erosion, the rest part of the sea caves erode, leaving behind only the roof, and it results in the formation of an arc shape which is known as sea arc. Next feature is stacks. Further erosion of the sea arc result in the complete erosion of the roof also, and it leaves behind only a vertical piece of rock. So the one piece of arc which is left as a pillar in the sea land, that is known as a stack. Next feature is sea cliff. Sea cliff is basically a vertical rocky structure which is rising above the sea water, that is known as a sea cliff. So these are some of the erosional landforms which are related with the action of sea water. Now we'll be discussing about the depositional landforms which are formed by the action of sea waves and currents. First landform is beaches. The sea water even deposits the sediments carried with it on its shore. This results in the formation of beaches. Next landform is bars and barriers. When the sediments are deposited by the sea along its coastline, this results in the formation of bars, and the larger bars are known as barriers. So in this manner we can say that the embankments of sediments by the sea water onto the coastal region results in the formation of bars and barriers. Now we'll be discussing about the landforms which are formed by the work of glacier. Glaciers are rivers of ice. Big pieces of ice which float along the slope are termed as glaciers. Glacier generally moves due to gravity. Glacier leads to the formation of erosional landforms in highlands and depositional landforms in lowlands. A glacier even erodes its valleys by plucking stones and sand. So the erosional landforms which are formed by a glacier is U-shaped valley. U-shaped valley is basically a broad, steep and flat flowed valley which is formed by the glaciers. This is termed as a U-shaped valley because the shape formed by it is basically of a U. These U-shaped valleys are generally formed when the glacier moves downwards. Next depositional landform of glacier is moraines. Moraines are basically formed by the deposition of big and small pieces of rocks, sand and silt which are carried by the glacier. These moraines can even be shifted from one place to another when the glacier melts. These moraines are basically a ridge shape which are formed by the movement of glaciers. Next we'll be studying about the landforms which are formed by the action of wind. Wind is also an important agent of erosion, but wind does not have that much importance because of its low density. Normally air is having a low density, but winds acts as an active agent in the desert areas as compared to the land areas. So here we are going to discuss about some of the erosional and depositional landforms which are formed by the action of wind. First we are going to study about the erosional landform. So the example of erosional landform are mushroom rocks. Mushroom rocks, as you can understand by the name, is having the shape of a mushroom, which is thick at the top and narrow at the bottom. These mushrooms rocks are formed by the continuous erosion by the action of wind. When the erosion takes place into the lower section of rock as compared to the upper section, it results in the formation of mushroom rocks. Next we'll be discussing about depositional landform. The depositional landform example is sand dunes. Sand dunes are basically the hills of sand. These are formed by the deposition of sand which is carried away from one place to another by the action of winds. Sand dune gets its shape by the action of wind only. Sand dunes are generally formed in groups. When the wind flows with a high speed, it carries the sand particles from one place to another, which results in the erosion from one place and deposition onto the other. Next depositional feature is loess. When the wind carries sand particles with it, and when it blows with a speed, it carries these particles to the neighboring land areas. So when these sand particles are deposited beyond the desert limits into the nearby areas, this results in the formation of loess. Loess are basically formed at a distant place from the source area. So these are some of the erosional and depositional landforms which are formed by the action of wind, sea waves, river, glacier and even by wind. So with this we have studied about our changing earth and the formation of different type of landforms by the erosion and deposition process. So this was all about the chapter. So before winding up, let us discuss about some of the important points. Pangaea was a supercontinent. There are 7 major lithospheric plates. The forces which act in the Earth's interior are called as endogenic forces. The forces that are working to wear away the Earth's surface are known as exogenic forces. Endogenic forces results in earthquake, volcanoes, landslides, etc. Exogenic forces results in the formation of different type of landforms through the process of erosion and deposition. Different type of landforms are formed by the erosion and deposition by the action of running water, sea waves, glaciers and wind. So this was all about the chapter Our Changing Earth. Now we are going to wind up today's class. So good day for now. Stay home, stay safe.